Page 58, Careless Love. At the top of the page, they're introducing a new symbol. It's the C with a line through it. A C by itself, time signature, is common time. The C with the line through it is cut time. They cut the C in half, sort of. Next play, it's called all breve, or all breve, depending on how you want to say it. I think it's all breve. Commonly called cut time. I just call it cut time. And it means you're going to count to two beats in a measure, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. But you're counting half notes. That 2 on the bottom stands for a half note. See, in the past it's always been a 4, which is quarter note. Now it's half note. Well, that switches things around a bit. Take a look, for instance, at the left hand, just the left hand here. Now I've slowed the metronome down to 50 because it's got time. These are half notes. It's beating half notes. So it's like if I play it, it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. It goes pretty quick. You're used to a dotted half note getting 3 counts because it's worth 3 quarter notes. Well, cut time, a dotted half note gets 1.5 counts because a quarter note only gets a half count. So the cut time thing, what you can do to help if you need to is mentally change it to 4/4 and play it in 4/4 time for a while until you get it and you're comfortable with the notes, and then go put the cut time in because that'll speed it up a little bit. Because at the beginning of this, if I do it in 4/4, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I do it in cut time, it's this. 1, 2, and 1, and 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2. I can put an and in between every one if it's easier. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. Let's talk about the other trickiness that's going on in here. Mainly the accidentals and the hands moving around a bit and all kinds of fun. We're starting to get out of this nice comfortable 5-finger position. We're starting to spread out a little bit and the fingers are walking around a bit. For instance, if you look at the right at the beginning for the right hand, and you say, okay, what's my hand position? You would say the little finger's on A, so I must be in a D position. Yeah? Surprise, we're getting out of the 5-finger positions. You can't rely on that. That's why earlier I said when you want to figure out what your hand position is, you have to look at the first few notes. That's important. So look at the first few notes in the right hand, and you see you got an A, an F, an E, and the thumb plays the middle C. So that's the hand position. The thumb went down one. So there, just to start. Then on the second line in the right hand, right there at the beginning, you see they went the second finger on A. Well, you had a little finger on A, so now you're moving your hand up. You have a quarter rest at the end of the first line, so you get a chance to go ahead and move it up during that rest, so you're in position to go. And remember, there is a B flat in the key signature, so all the B's in this piece are flat. All right. Now, at the end of the second line, going into the third line, you have a 2 on the G sharp, but you got to put a 1 on the A for the third line. The thumb just comes under it. It's very common, and it'd be good for you to get into that. Get it where it's comfortable, where you can pass the thumb and the first finger, because you use them quite a bit. Then in the third line, you're probably all right until you get to the end. The last measure of the third line, yeah. The first F's with the thumb, and the second F is with the third finger, because we had to change hand positions now for the last line. So may have to practice changing hand positions, and that's okay. We do that. You got tied notes in there. You can do the tied notes by now, I hope. In the left hand, Go back up to the first line as be the third measure. The half note is an F chord. And in that F chord, the third finger is playing the A. Okay? Well, now they're telling you third finger on A flat. That's okay in this case because the other fingerings you could use are actually more cumbersome. So just use this fingering here and then use the A here. Third finger on the same note. Using the same finger on two different notes. That's okay. Happens sometimes. In the second line, third measure is the same thing, only it's a C chord. Middle finger's playing an E in the chord. Then you need the middle finger again to play the E flat. In the third line, in the second measure, and they even put a little E flat in a circle there for you, that top note is you need to memorize that one. It's got two ledger lines, okay? The first ledger line is the middle C, and the second one is an E. Okay, but this has a flat in front of it, so it's an E flat. So you have an F, an A, and an E flat. Thumb's a short finger, so you got to move your hand up near the fallboard so the thumb can reach the black key. Then in the next measure, you can get your thumb back out for those chords. And then in the last measure, you got to put your hand in again toward the fallboard so the thumb can reach the D flat. So you're moving your thumb around because fourth measure you come back out. So it's so with all that said, you go ahead and learn it, and when you're ready, play it with me slowly. Let's see how you do. Again, I want to be picky about the rhythm and how long you hold a note down. It's important. First line, last measure, that left hand, the F, for the last two measures it's tied. Well, in the last measure, that F is 3 counts and a one beat rest. And you need that 1 beat rest because you got to move your hand up during that rest. But make sure you get a 1 beat rest because the left hand isn't resting. They're not playing the same. So in that measure, you're here. The last two measures because it's tied. You're here. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So the right hand is coming up on and of 4. You get a half a count. I said 1 count. I'm thinking 4 time. That's not correct. 2 time. You get half a count. Good luck. Now your left hand is moving around quite a bit. F to C. But we've already been doing this in the previous things when you had those blues pieces, so that shouldn't be a problem for you, I hope. If you have to, it's 1 hand at a time. You practice those movements. If you can get them where you don't have to look down at the keyboard, it's a lot easier. You have phrasing in here. I'd like to hear a little break between the phrases. Ha ha ha. Let's try this out. There is a RIT at the bottom, a retard. I'm going to ignore that because I'm playing with a metronome. You can slow down on your own. So I'm going to give us 4 counts to come in, but understand the metronome is beating half notes. So go ahead and put your hands where they start. Okay. And here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. And 1,